I turned $60,000 into $2.4 million investing, but it wasn't smooth. One mistake cost me over $120,000. Gone, just like that. And if you've ever been scared to invest, scared that one wrong move could wipe you out, I get it. I've been there. Lying awake at night, second guessing every decision, terrified that one choice could send me back years. That's why I made this video, to share the lessons I learned, so you don't have to burn through money like I did. Here's what I'll be covering: the biggest mistakes that nearly cost me everything, the mindset shifts that turned my portfolio into millions, the systems that I use to spot high upside opportunities, and how you can use it all to escape the 9-to-5 and live life on your terms. So let's start with the biggest mistake, because most investors blow up their portfolio on year one, and I almost did too. And before we dive in, this isn't financial advice. I'm not an advisor. I'm just sharing what worked for me and the painful mistakes I made along the way. So firstly, learn from my mistakes. I'll save you time and money by starting with my mistakes, because they cost me 6 figures. If you can stick with me for 10 minutes, you'll know more than 99% of people about investing. The first thing is ignoring the FUD. Have you ever seen a scary headline and thought, crap, maybe I should sell before it's too late? That was me. I sold early on some of my best positions because I panicked over tweets, news articles, and YouTube doomsday thumbnails. Here's the truth: the market runs on fear. It's designed to shake you out. And every time you sell in fear, you're killing your gains. The winners aren't the ones who react to noise. They're the ones who stick to conviction even when it feels uncomfortable. The second mistake is listening to price predictions. Yeah, I did that too. And every time it shook me out of my positions that I actually believed in. Have you ever followed some guru who says, this stock is going to $500 or Bitcoin is about to crash to $10,000? Here's the truth. No one knows the short term. Not me, not Wall Street, not these influencers. Following predictions kills conviction. And without conviction, you'll always sell too early. The third mistake is short-term gambling. If you're playing the market for the short term, you're not investing, you're gambling. I used to chase quick flips, hoping to outsmart the market. But here's the problem. Hidden opportunities take time to play out. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Think about this. Just $500 a month invested at a 10% return, which is the market average, grows into $100,000 in 10 years. That's not hype, that's not luck, that's just patience. That's the math most people ignore while panic buying and panic selling. The fourth mistake is investing on margin. I saw people doubling their money fast with leverage, so of course I thought about it too. But here's the truth. Margin doesn't just magnify gains, it magnifies mistakes. One bad call and you can wipe out years of progress. I got lucky I didn't go in deep, but I'll never invest with borrowed money again. That one mistake almost cost me my whole portfolio. The fifth mistake is quality over quantity. I thought more stocks meant safer investing. I was so wrong. When your portfolio is small, over-diversifying kills your gains. I spread myself across 10 half-baked picks when I should have just gone big on 2 or 3 conviction plays. Instead of trying to find a new hot stock, I should have just kept growing my positions in the few companies that I had big conviction in. The truth is, less picks means more focus. That's how you build real returns. The next mistake is understanding what you're buying. If you don't understand the company, then don't buy it. If you can't explain it in 1 minute, don't buy it. If you don't understand it, you won't hold it. And if you won't hold it, you won't see the upside. It's simple as that. Here's a painful story that cost me over $120,000. This one still hurts. My first big investment, it was Shopify. I bought the stock in 2019 and I sold it at $27. A few years later, it hit $150. That one decision, that one mistake, cost me $120,000. And that was a case where I made all the mistakes that I just told you about. Here's the crazy part. I knew it was the right pick. I used Shopify every single day to run my $1 million e-commerce business, but I listened to others, I lost conviction, and I sold too early. Never again. Conviction beats noise, always. Here's a quick recap. Ignore the fear and the hype. Both will kill your gains. Stop listening to predictions. Conviction beats noise. Stick with a few investments you actually understand and hold them long term. And by the way, I share these lessons because they cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn the hard way. If you don't want to repeat them, subscribe. I'll keep giving you the raw truth that most people won't, so you don't waste years making these same errors. Which of these mistakes have you made before? Be honest, let me know below in the comments. But here's where most people get it wrong. They try to play it safe and chase hype at the same time. That guarantees mediocre results. Let me show you the mindset shift that actually grows portfolios. These are the mindsets you have to have early on in your portfolio. When your portfolio is under $100,000, diversification kills gains. Even Warren Buffett said, if you only had 20 punches in your lifetime, you'd be far more selective. That's how I invest. If I'm lucky, I find one great stock or crypto a year. And when I do, I go deep. You can't understand 10 companies well, but you can understand one or two. And that's where the real returns come from. Your first milestone is $100,000. Once you get there, the game becomes so much easier. You can diversify, buy safer plays, and start to protect your wealth at that point. I know what some of you are thinking. $100,000 feels impossible. I can barely save $500 a month. I felt that too. But with patience and compounding, you're closer than you think. So try this. Write down one company you use every single day. Amazon, Netflix, Tesla. If you only had 20 punches in your investing card, would this be one of them? And here's what nobody tells you. You don't need 20 great investments. You need one or two life-changing ones. And let me prove it with my own story. Buy what you believe in. I only buy companies I truly understand and believe in. That's what gives me the conviction to hold through the dips. The first example is Shopify. I was running my $1 million e-commerce store, Elitus.com, on their platform every single day. I knew they'd be growing and become market leaders. The platform was too good. Second example is Tesla. When I picked up my car on delivery day, there was a line out the door. I couldn't believe it. I had never seen that before at any dealership. The demand was undeniable for their cars. When I saw that, I knew the company wasn't going to slow down. These were simple yet obvious businesses I understood before the market had caught on. That's the mindset shift. Don't chase hype. Invest in what you know. You are your best tipster. Just look around your everyday life. What products, tools, brands, or platforms do you use every single day that you love? That's your starting watch list. So let me know in the comments below, what's one company you believe could 5x over the next decade? I'll reply to some of them. And if you're finding this helpful, make sure to subscribe. I'm not here to give you hype picks. I'm here to share the mindset and the examples that actually build wealth. That's what makes this channel different. But conviction alone is not enough. Even the best company can be a bad investment if you buy it at the wrong time. And here's what I mean. To really win, you need these three things: the right pick, at the right price, and with enough time. Shopify at $27 was genius. Shopify at $150 is much higher risk and lower reward. That's a market cap difference of 35 billion versus 200 billion. So here's how I filter for a great pick. Firstly, the market must be for the future. For example, AI, EVs, tech. The brand has to be strong. The stock needs room to grow 2x, 5x, even 10x. And I always ask, what's my too good to be true price? That's when I start buying. Here's a great example, Meta stock. A couple years ago, the market hated them. There was FUD everywhere after their big metaverse push. The stock dropped from, I believe, about $350 down to $90, which was about a $175 billion market cap. Think about that. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp only worth $175 billion? No way. So I bought long-term options expiring in 18 months. I invested $3,350. And over the next year and a half, I sold it for $72,000. That's a 20x return. Why? because I was greedy when others were fearful. And enough patience to wait for the right price. The takeaway is that it's not enough to pick the right company. You also need the right entry point, especially if your portfolio is small. So here's some quick math for you. 5 grand invested at a 5x return is 25 grand. Now, if you do that 4 times in a decade, you're at $625,000. That's how life-changing investing really works. And if you're wondering how this plays out in real life, let me break it down with 2 case studies, Alibaba and NIO stock. And just to be clear, I'm not telling you to buy these. This isn't financial advice. These are just my own plays, my wins, my losses, and my lessons. So the first case study is Alibaba stock. Alibaba once traded over $300 a share. That was their all-time high. They dominate e-commerce, they dominate cloud, and now they're moving into AI. And they have over 1 billion users. So when the price dropped to under $75, my too good to be true zone, I started accumulating long options just like I did with Facebook. The result, again, I turned $6,100 into over $41,000 in a year. That's a 550% gain. The second case study is NIO. Think of NIO as a Tesla of China if you haven't heard of them. So here's the difference. Tesla is worth over $1.4 trillion market cap. NIO is just at a $14 billion market cap. That's 1% of Tesla's size while delivering 12% of the amount of cars every year. So which one do you think is easier to double? A company from $14 billion to $28 billion, or a company from $1.4 trillion to $2.8 trillion. So that's why I loaded up heavy on NIO stock. It was trading around $4 to $5. I told myself anything under $5 felt too good to be true for me. And just recently, it ran up to $7.40, a 68% gain just this year. So the key is to be spotting opportunities that the market hasn't woken up to yet. Let me give you a case study for one of my mistakes, which was Solana. Not every investment is perfect. In 2021, I broke my own rules and chased hype. I bought Solana at $200, and within a year, it dropped to $10 after the FTX collapse. That one hurt, even though I didn't put in much. And now it's back above $240 again. So here's the lesson. I didn't pick the wrong investment. I just picked it at the wrong time. At $200, it didn't feel too good to be true. But at $10, it absolutely did. So this is my philosophy in action. Buy undervalued, high upside assets. Set buy targets and accumulate patiently. I break down case studies like this every day. The wins, the losses, the ugly mistakes. If you want more real world investing lessons, just subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you want me to keep sharing these plays in real time. But buying is only half the game. Here's a mistake most people make after they invest. They don't know when to sell. Buying right is only half the battle. Selling right is the other half. Here's my simple profit-taking ladder. Here's an example if I was to buy a stock at $10. If it hit $20, I would pull out my initial investment. At $30, I would sell another 20% of my holdings. At $40, I'd sell another 20%, and at $50, I'd sell another 20%. And I'd hold the last 20% for the next 5 to 10 years. This way, I remove risk early, I lock in profits, and still keep upside if it goes parabolic. Keep in mind, this is my strategy for stocks, not crypto. I learned this the hard way with Shopify, my first big win. I sold it all at once, and a few years later, it was up 500% more. That single decision cost me over $100,000. So before you buy anything, write down 3 selling targets and how much you should sell at each, and stick to the plan. Don't let emotions make the call. So let me ask you, would you rather lock in a steady double up or risk it all for a potential 10x? Let me know in the comments below. And here's what trips up 99% of investors. They find the right company, but they either buy it at the wrong time or sell way too early. Patience isn't optional. It's the multiplier that turns a good pick into a life-changing return. So the right pick at the right price with enough time equals huge returns. The real compounding doesn't just happen in your portfolio. It happens in your mindset. Here are the habits that I live by. Keep some risk in your portfolio because that's where life-changing returns come from. The best opportunities show up in fear, not hype. Double down on dips if you have true conviction. Don't chase FOMO. By the time you hear about it, you're late. And above all, rules beat emotions. Greed and fear have cost me millions. Wealth isn't built on intelligence. It's built on discipline, on sticking to your system when everyone else panics. So the mindset shift is no matter what the headlines say, stick to your conviction. Fear is noise. Discipline is profit. And all of this builds to the ultimate lesson. The best investment you'll ever make isn't Tesla, Shopify, or crypto. It's you, your skills, your mindset. That's the asset that compounds forever. What I've learned is simple. The clearest path to financial freedom is investing. Not everyone can start a business, but anyone can invest. Be patient, think independently, and ignore the noise. Do that long enough, and you'll live life on your own terms. That's what happened to me. I don't have to work another day in my life. I don't have to trade my time for money anymore. Now I get to work on what I love, like building this YouTube channel to help people rewire their mindsets and shift their perspectives. If this video helped, hit subscribe, because I'll be sharing the raw lessons that cost me millions, so you don't have to burn through the same mistakes. And I'll leave you with this. You are your best investment. Build your mindset, build your skills, and reinvest. And repeat. Do that long enough and you'll escape the 9-to-5 forever, just like I did. And don't forget, you're just one move away from a new life through investing. But here's the truth. You don't need to do it alone. This channel is where ambitious people like you come to rewire their mindset, master their craft, and break out of the 9-to-5 cycle. So if you're ready to join the 1% and escape the rat race, hit subscribe and lock in with us. Every week, I'll be sharing the exact frameworks, habits, and mental shifts that will put you years ahead. So let me know in the comments below, what's your next investment? And don't forget, the only difference between where you are now and where you want to be is the moves you choose to make today. If you're ready for the next step, here's a link to my next video, which is how to disappear, transform, and come back unstoppable. It's the perfect roadmap to level up fast once you start locking in. Click here and I'll see you there.